In today's episode, Neha asks, you have a large number of followers on LinkedIn. How do you monetize them? I'm looking for ideas to monetize my followers. Okay, so a couple of things. There are two rules that I would strongly suggest that you adhere to when it comes to the monetization of a social media audience. Rule number one comes from Gary Vaynerchuk, right, who says, when you give, give. When you sell, sell. Don't mix the two. Don't do a little bit of each or trying to sneak things in. Just give value when you give it unreservedly. And when you sell, let people know, hey, I am selling. And you will probably get better results because it will be clear what your intentions are. And if you've given enough value, you should be able to sell into it. The second rule is from my friend Chris Brogan. Any opportunity to be helpful is an opportunity to do business. So when you are giving and when you're creating value, look at those as a way of market research. When people are asking you questions about what it is you do and how you do it, or problems that they have, guess what? That is the market telling you this is what people value. This is what people want you to do. This is something that I certainly am, looking at with the company. With my company, Trust Insights. What is it that people need help with? It is not things like artificial intelligence right now, because that is predicated on so many things, so many precursors, that people need help with those first. So certainly a lesson I have learned recently. Now, these two rules will help you decide how to create and trade value with your audience. And that, I think, is probably the most important turn of phrase. You are not monetizing your followers. Do not monetize your followers, because they are not a passive resource that you can simply farm, like, get out the rake and start. I can clearly tell I don't do a lot of farming because you don't use a rake all that often. You're not monetizing. You're not extracting a resource from a passive thing. You're not drilling an oil well. Your audience is composed of other people. And if you want those people to give you value, you have to give them value in return. And it's called, I forget who came up with it. I think it was the business networking group. It's called Giver's Gain. You have to give first. You have to be giving value first in order to earn the right to trade value with your audience. And even when you have earned that right, you still have to trade value, and you still have to give more value than you receive most of the time. The value equation will be tilted in your audience's favor most of the time if you want long-term value. Now, if you're just trying to make a quick buck, then yeah, you can do there's some pretty straightforward things that will give you a few dollars very quickly, but then you'll burn that connection with your audience, and your audience will not be around. If you're trying to build a community for the long term, then you have to think in terms of trade. So what do you have to sell? Does your audience want what you have to sell? Right? Those are two really important questions. If your audience doesn't want what you're selling, then you're not going to be able to trade value with them. It won't happen. I can be selling skunk-flavored coffee all I want. If the audience doesn't want skunk-flavored coffee, no amount of value I give is going to create a long-term trade relationship. Second, what do you have to give? Right? What value do you have to give, and how well does it align with what you have to sell? If I am over here talking about, say, email marketing, and my company's products and services are not email marketing related, then I can give all the value I want, but it's not going to result in economic value brought back to the company. I had this happen a number of years ago when I worked in financial services. I was sharing a tremendous amount of information and ideas and things about podcasting. This is back in the first golden age of podcasting, I guess you could call it. And I worked at a financial services company that their specialty was not podcasting, right? Their specialty was student loans and financial aid. And so what I had to give did not align with what we sold. And so there was not enough value created. So what do you have to give? What do you have to sell? Are they aligned? Your general rule of thumb is just like social media, curation and sharing. It's 80-20. Give 80% of the time, 20% of the time, sell. So give frequently, sell infrequently. And the most important thing you can do by far is, as quickly as possible, by exchanging a lot of value. Get your audience off rented land. Get your audience away from platforms you don't own. So your Facebook page, for example, you don't own it. You have no control over what somebody sees. As a result, it will get harder and harder to extract value from Facebook itself, right? The same is true of Instagram. The same is true of LinkedIn. These are great places to meet new people, but then you need to get them to something you own, like an email list, like a Slack community, like a private forum, someplace where there is no algorithm throttling what people see, and you have the ability to reach out to people as you need it for those infrequent times when you are going to ask to trade value, right? You're going to give, and occasionally ask to trade. For example, I help run a Slack community, Analytics for Marketers. We want you to come there because there's no algorithm blocking you. And in return, we'd give away lots of stuff in the community. Like last night, I posted the thank you pages for 2 talks we recently published. So you don't have to go fill out a form anymore because we already have your email, right? You don't have to go fill out forms and jump through hoops. You can go straight to the good stuff. So there's a value proposition even in that. We know that you're valuable. We know that you're important. And we know that you've taken time and effort to go to this community that is separate from where you spend most of your time, like on Facebook and stuff. And so how do we give value? By giving you shortcuts and things that are not available to the general public. So the short version of a very complex question is, think about trading value. Give more than you take, give a lot more than you take, and get people to channels you own. Your email list and your text, your mobile number text list, those are invaluable resources. You own them. No one can take them away from you. No one can suppress pieces of content you send. Once you get beyond basic deliverability and prove that you're not a spammer, you have the ability to reach out to people and give them value, but also trade value with them. So make sure that you are doing that. Email is as Ann Handley says, it's the OG of social networks, but it's also one of the few assets under your control that you truly own. I mean, unless you don't pay your bills to your email service provider, but yeah, you want to make sure that you own that. So those are some guidelines for the monetization of social media networks and trading value with your audience. But please stop thinking about monetizing followers and start thinking about trading value with them. What can you trade that is aligned with what your company does? That, in the long term, will help you build the best, most sustainable strategy. And if you are so inclined, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and join the newsletter. And join our Slack group where we give lots of stuff all the time and have some fun discussions alongside. So thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon. Want help solving your company's data, analytics, and digital marketing problems? Visit trustinsights.ai today and let us know how we can help you.